everybody, welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, the show that may or may not be 5 minutes. Today in the news, boy oh boy, do we have some news. Because this week, the console wars kicked off in a way that we haven't seen for some time. Just to clarify, for those of you who need to be caught up, Microsoft wants to acquire Activision Blizzard. And Sony's like, no, if you do that, you'll take Call of Duty and make it exclusive. That's not fair, bro. And Microsoft was like, no, we would never do that. And then regulatory bodies and countries around the world started to weigh in, then other game devs, and sure, while everyone thought that Microsoft would easily make this happen, it has been setback after setback, plus Sony's insistence that it's wrong, and then feedback from the public have caused all sorts of tensions to finally boil over this week. Where, in an interview this week, living pile of shit and CEO of Activision Blizzard, Bobby Kotick said that if the deal didn't go through because of UK's regulatory bodies having a lot of questions, that it would become Death Valley for tech in the UK. Nothing like a good threat. Well, now Bobby Boy has kicked it up another notch. Speaking with the Financial Times, Kotick expressed concern that ideologues were taking over the agencies and claimed that Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO and other executives had stopped returning calls from Activision and Microsoft. Suddenly, Sony's entire leadership team stopped talking to anyone at Microsoft, Kotick said. I think this is all Sony just trying to sabotage the transaction. He added, the whole idea that we're not going to support a PlayStation or that Microsoft would not support the PlayStation, it is absurd. And just a note here, EU regulators have said that despite Microsoft's claim that, of course we won't do this, what are you talking about? Their track record is that is 100% what they're going to do. If they're not going to do it right away, they will do it eventually. They'll make it exclusive. In response to a request from the Financial Times, Sony said, we are in contact with Microsoft and have no further comment regarding our private negotiations. And of course, Kotick went on to say that he was optimistic that the Microsoft acquisition would close by July 2023, noting that in its fight with the FTC, Microsoft had hired lawyer Beth Wilkinson, who was previously hired by the commission in 2012 to lead a probe into Google. She feels like if she's going to have to litigate against the FTC, she will absolutely crush them, he said. And for all this bluster about taking on the FTC, really, it's not their number one concern. The CMA, or Competitions and Market Authority in the UK, is actually the bigger problem, because when they make a ruling, unlike the FTC, which if they say something, you could take them to court and you can get all caught up in the legal system, the CMA, if they say something, if they make a ruling, that's final. That's it. So that is their real biggest hurdle. And in the UK, the CMA has a lot of questions. In fact, they're the ones that said, if you want the deal to go through, the best way to do it, the way we'll approve it, break up Activision Blizzard. If you want to sell Warcraft to them, awesome. But you can't do the whole thing. And that was their advice a few days ago. We'll see what happens, but you know Bobby's not happy about that. Which is why Bobby's over on Fox News saying, if the merger doesn't go through, I'm going to stick around. I'm not going to leave Activision Blizzard, which makes perfect sense because who wouldn't want a leader who presided over a failed merger and toxic workplace environment and sexual harassment and hiring on unqualified executives, and he's just the man for the job. Speaking of the man for the job, because it's named after him, it's time for your CrenMinute.
Hello everybody, how's it going? It's me, Crendor, and welcome back to the CrenMinute, my once-a-week segment where I get to talk about whatever I want for a minute. This week we're talking about battle passes, because it seems like every game has a battle pass. Like, at first I didn't really mind. I was like, okay, this game's got a battle pass, whatever. I don't really mind. And then more and more games start doing it to the point where now it seems like every game has a battle pass. And I'm just tired of battle. I would almost rather just get DLC at that point. You know what I mean? Like there hits this point where I'm like, I'll just let me buy the DLC, right? Instead of being like progress through the game and then unlock the various things, which some games I don't mind doing, but when it's just everywhere now, I'm growing tired of it. But what I'm not growing tired of is patreon.com/Crendor. I've revamped everything. Go check it out. And we may even have feet pics just like Jesse Cox's Patreon. See ya.
Thanks, Crendor, for that shameless plug. Anyway, speaking of shameless plugs, you can go over to patreon.com/Jesse Cox, bing, where you can hang out with Jason Brady, Attracted Data, and Chris. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks so much. See y'all Monday for another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News.